this week's episode of Gundam Reconguista in G, the relationship between Bellry and Ida finally goes full-on Luke and Leia Skywalker. Yeah, they're brother and sister. It was teased at in the preview, and it was revealed in this week's episode. And yet, I'm not shocked. I feel like I should be more surprised by these turn of events, but the fact that it was sort of teased in the previous preview, and the fact that there have been small hints to the fact that they're brother and sister, it's made it kind of apparent. But it's still shocking and strange because, just like the rest of the series, they're taking all of this in stride. They don't seem to be shocked by any of these turns of events that both Ida and Bellry just happen to be the prince and princess of Toa Sangha. Otherwise, this week's episode was interesting because it looks like we're finally going to get a little bit of character development from both Bellry and from Ida. And interestingly enough, it looks like Bellry is finally about to go through that angsty, pissed-off pilot stage that we see all the time in Mobile Suit Gundam. And it took him a long time to get to this point. Before, he was just very happy-go-lucky. I guess finding out that the chick you're attracted to is actually your sister will really put your panties in a twist. It is pretty interesting, however, when that big revelation comes forth, that even Ida herself even calls that one person that Bellry killed, his name completely escapes me at the moment, but that apparently was Ida's lover. Yeah, pretty serious. Just the fact that the two are able to even work together is astounding. And again, that just goes with the rest of the series. Just the fact that everybody just seems to take things really calmly, and just the fact that, like, oh, this is no big deal, this is just like an everyday event for the series. Otherwise, this episode for me was just okay. It's really just a big shock getting to see all of Toa Sangha and see how just rural it actually is. It sort of gives off this old school country vibe, which is kind of strange because it's in the dead of space. It seems more like a natural Earth than the actual Earth that we've seen in the show. There's a little bit of political intrigue in here with Colonel Koopa finally arriving to Toa Sangha, and there's also that really weird scene where there's that one person from the Toa Sangha army who's that one female colonel or general, and she just randomly kisses that one pilot, and he does not look too happy about any of that at all. It's just a really strange scene, and basically it was her way of saying, hey, shut the hell up and listen to me. There was a small space battle this week with the G-Self going up against some of the other mobile suits which belonged to Toa Sangha, which was honestly pretty cool, but it was very short-lived. Really, this episode is just establishing the fact that Ida and Bellry are brother and sister. Bellry is not really sitting well with any of this, and it seems like as soon as they get back, all of their old memories of Toa Sangha are coming back to them. However, there's still that small possibility that Bellry is not actually related to Ida at all, and this might actually be some sort of trick or twist, especially now that we're finally starting to get into the meat of the story and starting to learn a little bit more about it, and we can see that Bellry is not exactly going to be the happy-go-lucky character that we saw him in the first half of the series. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Gundam Reconguista NG? It was okay, but God, I really wish they didn't spoil the whole twist about this week's episode in the preview from the last one. It was kind of disappointing. Going into this week's episode, I knew that they were going to reveal that Ida and Bellry were brother and sister, and they did. They didn't go into too much of an explanation as to how it happened, but there are some cool revelations, like the fact that both Ida and Bellry's DNA actually react to the G-Self Gundam. This is just reinforcing the fact that this machine was made explicitly for their use, and I can't wait to see if that's going to come into play anytime later in the future. Like I said, there's always that political intrigue going on in the background, mostly from the Capital Army. There's even a small scene where Manny actually realizes that Mask is Luan Lee. It's who she's been looking for the entire time, so that little quest to Mordor is done. Otherwise, this week's episode was just okay. Didn't really do too much for me. However, I'm glad that they're finally starting to get into the story and the background of this whole new Gundam world, which they're not explaining a lot of. This week's episode to me was a little jumbled and a little confusing at times. Despite that, I still think it was a decent episode, so I am going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5, an average episode of Gundam Reconguista NG that you should definitely check out if you've been following the series, or if you consider yourself a fan of old school Gundam anime. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you guys leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Gundam Reconguista NG. Were you shocked at the revelation that Bellry and Ida are related? What do you want to see from the rest of this brand new Gundam anime series? Remember guys, before you leave, make sure and go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you've not already. You can do that by clicking on the channel icon right up here. It's really easy to do, and you'll be able to check out all of our latest anime and manga reviews, and there are a lot of anime this winter 2015 season, so make sure and check out our page to see all of those brand new reviews. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.